Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 23 of Before the Fork. I'm Robin Shea, and this is the 28-day experience. So you guys are catching me today. Obviously, this is a day that I'm going to be working outside. I've got some dogs that are in desperate need of a bath. So I'll be headed outside soon and taking care of the animals and the house because after the 4th of July, it kind of got away from me a little bit. Anyway, yesterday's message was a little garbled because I was on the lake and just had really poor connection, but I hope the message was solid. I hope that you enjoyed the message on finding the sweet spot. And if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. It's a super short message. I think it's under 3 minutes. So anyway, today's message is all about strengthening the inner man, along with strengthening the outer man or outer woman, whichever it should be. And I really love this message. And again, the inspiration for this message came from my morning ministry that I like to listen to as I'm getting my day started. And it's the idea, it made me think back to the years that I trained women in the gym. And one of the very first things I would do when a new client came into the gym, and I would spend some time with them getting familiar with their ability and their potential, what their bodies could do. So although they felt it was very rudimentary, one of the first things that I would have women do, now realize that I trained women really close to my own age within about 10 years either way. And one of the very first, hi Kim, one of the very first things I would do when they came into the gym is that I would have them simply sit down in a chair unassisted, meaning I didn't want them to brace themselves with the arms of the chair. I just wanted them to stand in front of the chair, lower themselves, tap their bottom, and stand right back up. And that really helped me gauge many things. It helped me gauge their core strength. It helped me gauge their balance. It helped me gauge, because I would watch how they would lower themselves and how they would lift themselves up. It helped me gauge their connection, their mind connection with what parts of their body were being used to do this seemingly very simple task. As we age, we tend to lean into different types of assistance to help our bodies do what our core should be doing. So in the process, we're weakening our core or denying our core the exercise that it needs because we found some different things to lean into that make it a little easier for us to do simple tasks. If you are someone that would like to just kind of gauge what your overall physicality is, what your body is capable of doing, try that simple exercise. And it's just hold your arms out in front of you, sit down, sit in a chair level, tap your bottom, and stand right back up. Do you have to use any assistance to do that? Do you have to use the arm of the chair? Do you feel yourself getting wobbly? That's a real great indicator of where you should start in your physical progress or moving forward with your physicality. So a lot of times we treat transformation in very much the same way. We need to check our basics. We need to check our core. One of the first things I'll do with women in the gym is we start with planks. And we just hold a plank starting at 15 seconds to see either an elbow plank or a full extended arm plank. And I see, how long can they hold this simple plank movement. We try to work up to a minute. But sometimes that spread from 10 to 12 seconds to a minute can take 2 or 3 months to work up to that type of stamina. So during phase 3, let's look at this in comparison. We are strengthening our inner man. Now remember, we're not adding any more layers of difficulty on top. That would be like me taking a new student in the gym that can only do a 12-minute plank and now having them do advanced movements that their core strength is not ready for. So what's that going to do? What's it going to do when I push their body beyond what their core is able to do? Their bodies may rise to the challenge and the flesh go into hyperdrive. And in the process, I'm looking at a whole array of potential injuries from pushing them beyond what their core is ready to do. Same way with your transformation process from a core strength perspective as far as your tips, tools, and techniques go. If we don't have this foundation, hi Carla, that we set forth in phase 2, all of those tips that you wrote yourself, all of those leaning into the pressure, think of that as a plank for your spiritual side. Think of that as a plank for strengthening your base, your core. You have to lean into those basic skills before we move into advanced practices, which is what we will be doing when we re-up the 28-day process and we do it again. We'll be starting with a stronger core. So if you push yourself spiritually, if you push yourself physically beyond what the core is able to do, you may meet that challenge once or twice, but the opportunity for injury beyond, and when I say injury from a spiritual perspective, I'm talking about unnecessary failure, unnecessary obstacles that may result in a little bit of the crushing of the spirit, a little bit of, oh, I knew I couldn't do this. And sometimes we want to, we want to minimize the opportunity for that doubt to creep in. And every time we set ourselves up, we want to make sure that we have strengthened our core substantially, because then we can start taking on tasks that are just out of our grasp. So just as I won't do it to the women in the gym, I make sure that their core and their foundation is strong and solid. That's exactly what we're doing in phase 3 from a spiritual perspective of taking on challenges and learning to lean into the foundation of your practice, leaning into your nutrition, safeguarding your home. Yesterday out on the lake, we stopped at this really great little lakeside restaurant. And, I have 5 teenagers with me, my husband and I, and we look at the menu, and of course it's a lakeside menu, right? I mean, it's got all the lake food, all the, fried stuff, and that I just don't eat. But I looked on the menu, and having done this for the years that I've done this, I found something that with a few modifications put me right there in my slow carb, which is what I've committed to for my 28-day experience, is the slow carb. So I found something on the menu, fell right in lines with it. I made a couple modifications, and I was no worse for the wear. But my foundation is strong. My eyes go to what I can have and never dwell in what I can't have or what I choose not to have. So strengthening that foundation is imperative. And that's what we're doing during the 3rd phase before the 4th, the 28-day experience. Now, one thing that I like to kind of give this metaphor or give this thought idea to what we're doing right now. And you may do this in one side of your life or the other. Now, I have taught the Before the Fork practices and the 28-day experience to a lot of deeply spiritual people. Now, as you'll notice, I don't reference a lot of biblical passages because I'm just not well versed in biblical passages. But I do know that my message parallels and is blessed by God. So I'm sure for whatever I teach, there is a biblical message that parallels it beautifully. And one day I'm going to do the research and I'm going to find all of those biblical messages that parallel with my message from Before the Fork. But having done that, having ministered very spiritual people, one thing has become kind of evident And that's sometimes the most spiritual people feed their spiritual minds, their spirit heart, 3 square meals a day. It gets all the nutrition it could possibly need, but they only feed their physical body a small little snack. Or you have the other side of that coin, where you have the people that maybe don't feed their spiritual side as much, but they feed their physical body 3 square meals a day. Man, they are on point. They are rocking their physicality, but they only give their spiritual body, their spiritual heart, a small little snack, maybe once a week, maybe on Sunday when they show up in church and they're being ministered to. But the second, hi Jennifer, the second they walk out of the doors of the church, maybe they leave that spiritual side of them in the church. So think about that. Feed your spiritual body 3 squares a day. Feed your physical body 3 that's tough to say, 3 squares a day. And then maybe give each of them a little snack every now and then. So don't feed one over the other. Think of it, another way to think of it is, if you feed your physical body 3 squares and you deny your spiritual body, we don't want our physical body to outlive our spiritual body. And we don't want our spiritual body to outlive our physical body. We want those suckers to age at about the same pace so that when we go to meet our glory, we go in our full bodies. Full body, full spirit. Okay, I love you all. I hope that message maybe opened up or unlocked a little different way of thinking about this phase 3 process. We really want to strengthen the inner man. We want to strengthen the inner man so that we can realize all of our physical potential. Our potential lies in our discipline. We are all full of potential, but unless we exercise our discipline and unless we strengthen the inner core of our spirit and we know how to lean into temptation and we know how to overcome temptation and we get stronger and we get stronger in our physical core, our experience is just going to be elevated and we're going to rise up and we're going to meet our potential every single time. But don't let it go unnourished. Feed it 3 squares a day. Right now in phase 3 is when we're learning the balance between feeding our spiritual core and feeding our physical core. They go together hand in hand. I love you all very much. Live with your whole heart today. Let this message kind of penetrate and see where you can apply it in your life. See if you've been denying one side a little bit more than the other and try to balance that out. And of course, I would always love to hear from y'all. So please post on the page if you have a thought, if you have a victory, if you have a challenge. We're here to help you through it all. We are better together than we are separate. So we're sharing a like mind right now, and let's do that together. So please be very vocal on the page. This is your page, and I want us all to learn to celebrate and support each other. Hi, Carla. You guys have a super blessed day. Go out there and be a blessing as well as being blessed. Okay, love you all. Talk to you tonight. Bye-bye.